Professor Laura with TT1S here. I just wanted to give you guys a quick trigger warning before our first course event of the semester. I have been researching this story. It's a current event, and I will be sharing a lot of current events throughout this course, but I just want you to know that this current event is not as current, but it does mention some very sensitive things, such as and also, just overall mental things. So I hope you guys take care of yourself. Save this video for later if you don't want to digest it right now, and do it at a time that's more convenient for you. Or if you feel like you just have to pass on this information, just let me know in the comments by giving me a heart or sending me some sort of emoji that resonates with you. But for those who are going to stay tuned, I hope you find this just as interesting as I do, and this is going to be part one of a two-part series to this particular discussion, and I definitely want you guys to watch this so you can have the backstory for the conversation we're going to have in the second video. Erin Valenti was a CEO, a rock climber, and she had a very, very successful history of running businesses in tech. She's originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, which is where the story began, and she flew into Orange County to come to a conference that was going to be at Laguna Niguel. She was raving about this conference. It was by this company, and she was just talking on the phone with all of her family throughout this entire trip and telling them so much good things about this conference. So she learned a lot, she loved it. But after this conference, she had to take off and go on another trip, but in the same kind of location in San Jose. Just to give you a frame of reference, October 1st is when she left. This is 2019. So October 1st, 2019, she left. The 2nd and the 3rd, she was still in the Orange County area going to the conference by that one company, Alcotone or something like that. And then on the 3rd, she was headed down to San Jose so she could go to another conference by this company called Box. Now, Box is a publicly traded company. They do tech, they automate processes for Fortune 500 companies, and they were very successful in 2019, but the conference she was going to was full of investors, founders in tech, basically some of the best in Silicon Valley. So if the end of the conference was the 3rd and the 4th, on that Sunday, so the 6th, she had lunch with one of her former partners or former executives at a company she used to work at when she just got out of college called JJ Cardwell. Cardwell is now a very, very well known CEO for a company called Vulture, but at the time he was the exec of a company called Summit Partners, which is a private equity firm that she used to work at. When they interviewed him later, just on, the disappearance and the randomness of this whole situation, he mentioned how she was just someone who had unique thought, unique abilities, raving about her. And he really just established that he knew that she was a change maker in the words that he was saying about her. But this was actually Erin at Summit Partners when she was right out of college. So at the time, this is what she looked like, I guess, when she was working at the company. So after that Sunday, on the 6th, she had another dinner planned because she was headed to a women's tech conference back in Salt Lake City. So she had to get on the plane in San Jose, head back to Salt Lake City, and go to this tech conference. But on the 7th, the day that she was supposed to leave to go back to Salt Lake City, she had another meeting with another friend from Summit Partners. She was meeting with someone named Dean Jacobson, who was actually her former manager at Summit Partners. And just for frame of reference on where she was at the time, because he was the last confirmed person to know and see her alive. So here is where they found her in her car. Up there is Palo Alto, and I did the Google Maps for what it would take right now, a 30-minute drive, not too bad. She was on the phone with her parents for the entire drive when she was up in Palo Alto, because she apparently didn't know where her car was at one point, so she was looking for it and searching frantically because she had to catch a flight that same day. And when they were doing the investigation, they realized that the last known location from where her phone was pinged was around this area. Almaden community. And I use the library as reference because she was found a few blocks down from this location officially. So it was around this area. And she was headed to the San Jose airport, which is all the way up there. Not too long though, like 20 minutes. So she wasn't that far away from her destination to get to where she needed to go. So if you see here, the Bowes Lane, that's the road that they found her vehicle in, where she was in the back seat. This was the vehicle that she was in. It was a rental, it was not hers, but it was the same vehicle that she said when she was in Palo Alto that she couldn't find to get back to so she could get herself to the airport. Something that struck me as interesting about her is, yes, she was an entrepreneur, she was raving about this conference, but when they got the toxology reports back, she was clean and she had no known illness or, mental health conditions. So it just was really odd, the phone call that she had with her parents while all of this was transpiring. In one report, they said she was talking fast and erratically, wasn't making any sense. And Valenti said she refueled the car not more than 10 minutes ago, but now the car was running out of gas and I'm going to miss my flight. And this was the most chilling part of this whole entire thing, because her parents, her very concerned parents, who actually sent a welfare check to her hotel, or her husband did, they all knew about it. And she later told the law enforcement, oh, I was just joking or something like that after that wellness check before all of this transpired. So just letting you guys know. So at one point she did get to her hotel, but she told her parents this on the phone. It's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix. And the other reoccurring thing that's said throughout this whole entire report, I'm going to miss my flight. So at one point she knew I'm not going to make it back to Salt Lake City on time. So this made me think, if she was going to miss her flight, if she was found in the back seat, if the last known person to have seen her alive was Dean, if she was on the way from Palo Alto to come all the way down to Almaden community and then go to the San Jose airport, which she was only 20 minutes away from, and she had a welfare check from law enforcement that her family called for her. She said she was joking, but she was seeming frantic, erratic. Something was up. And I thought maybe it was the location. Maybe she just was dealt a really bad hand, right? Well, I looked into the Almaden community and their crime rates. So I'm covering up some of the more, gory ones, but this was kind of the estimate. And that's per 100,000 people. It doesn't make sense that on a random day she was going to encounter something like that. Or I thought maybe, someone took her car and, that's how it happened. But when I was going to search around the time of her disappearance and weird, unaliving, I realized that there were a few events that kind of made me think. And just for frame of reference, she got there on the 1st. She was in San Jose on the 3rd. Then she met her friend in Palo Alto on the 7th. The 8th and the 9th is when the family started doing the welfare checks on her, because they were on the phone with her on the 7th. She missed her flight on the 7th. The 9th is when something happened in California that I think would be interesting to basically take the attention away from anything going on outside of the current events. The first one being they had power shutoffs throughout the entire area, including Almenda, the community. So the area where her car was found, where she was in the back seat. And this was an announcement made the weekend before she met with her summit partner, friends, old buddies. And they were basically saying they partnered with a French company called Spirar Tech that were doing dark fibers. Now, her story is interesting, but I wanted to give you all the details because what's even more interesting is what Erin was involved in outside of this whole entire case. And we'll get into that in part 2.